In Nigeria today, the growing insecurity crisis has once again exposed the weakness, inconsistency, and poor judgment that have defined the defense leadership under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The sudden resignation of former Minister of Defense Muhammad Badaru opened a floodgate of unanswered questions about how the nation's highest security portfolios were staffed in the first place. Nigerians watched confused and disappointed as individuals without strong defense backgrounds were placed in charge of a sector already battling insurgency, banditry, kidnapping, and terrorism on multiple fronts. For months, security experts, civil society organizations, and concerned citizens repeatedly questioned why President Tinubu appointed Muhammad Badaru, whose professional history had almost no direct link to security operations, to lead the Ministry of Defense. His tenure was marked by rising violence across key regions, an overstretched military, collapsing public confidence, and widespread belief that Nigeria's defense architecture was being handled with trial and error decision-making rather than informed strategy. But Badaru was not alone. His Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, brought even deeper controversy into the ministry. A resurfaced viral video from 2022, shot while he was governor of Zamfara State, captured Bello Matawalle openly sympathizing with armed bandits. In the clip, he insisted that not all bandits are criminals and blamed civilian vigilante groups for provoking their actions. The statement shocked Nigerians and raised questions about why such an individual was entrusted with national defense responsibilities at a time of escalating attacks across the country. His remarks further strengthened the long-standing accusations from various groups, including the Zamfara state government, which had alleged that Bello Matawalle harbored bandits in the government house during his time as governor. An influential Islamic scholar in Sokoto also accused him sometime of shielding notorious bandit leaders and holding large quantities of rifles in the state. Although Matawalle consistently denied these claims, the perception that he lacked neutrality and may have acted as a bandit sympathizer never disappeared since then. What has compounded public frustration is the ethnic pattern that characterized Bola Tinubu's early security appointments. The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, the Minister of Defense, Muhammad Badaru, and the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, are all of the same ethnicity. This came at a time when ethnic-associated militancy had already been a major part of the security threat. Many Nigerians openly questioned the wisdom of concentrating the three top defense positions within a single ethnic bloc, whose region was already heavily associated with violent militancy. This alignment not only created distrust, but also fed a growing belief that the government was indifferent to the sensitivities and fears of citizens in other parts of the country. The situation escalated recently when United States officials reportedly informed the Nigerian presidency through diplomatic and security channels that Washington will not support Nigeria with intelligence, weapons, or strategic cooperation unless both Muhammad Badaru and Bello Matawalle were removed from office. International partners questioned the capacity and credibility of Nigeria's defense leadership, reflecting a sentiment Nigerians have expressed for months. Their appointments lacked depth, experience, and professional grounding. The fallout of Badaru's resignation appears to be just the beginning. The pressure for Matawalle to be dismissed is growing both within and outside Nigeria. The viral video revived old doubts and erased any lingering trust in his ability to oversee national security. Civil society groups, lawmakers, and security analysts have repeatedly warned that retaining him could further damage Nigeria's global reputation and complicate international collaboration. To address the leadership vacuum, President Bola Tinubu appointed the immediate past Chief of Defense Staff, Christopher Musa, retired, as Minister of Defense. His appointment broke the earlier ethnic concentration and was widely welcomed by Nigerians who view him as a professional with real military credentials. But the change also signals that the presidency may be preparing a broader restructuring of the defense hierarchy, one that could inevitably include the removal of Bello Matawalle. The truth is clear. The nation is paying the price for poor appointments. The rising insurgency, high-level banditry, expanding rural displacement, and deepening insecurity across the North and Middle Belt are direct reflections of a defense architecture that lacked coordination, lacked credibility, and lacked experienced leadership. Nigerians have long argued that a country facing multiple security threats cannot afford trial and error governance in a ministry as sensitive as defense. As things stand, the convergence of public outrage, international pressure, and political calculations points to one reality. Bello Matawalle's time in the defense ministry may be coming to an end. His continued presence threatens the government's already shaky public trust and goes further to undermine efforts to stabilize the security environment. If the presidency intends to rebuild confidence, both locally and internationally, it must prioritize competence over politics, experience over sentiment, and credibility over ethnic alignment. Anything less will deepen the crisis and prolong a cycle of insecurity that Nigerians are desperately hoping to escape. What Nigeria is going through is not isolated. Across West Africa and the broader continent, several countries are confronting the legacy of weak institutions, external interference, and political volatility. The recent turn of events in the Republic of Benin shows these wider challenges, but also points at a broader trend: African nations increasingly asserting their sovereignty and rejecting external domination, while at the same time battling with internal fragility that erupts from poor governance, insecure leadership, and institutional weaknesses. On Sunday, December 7th, 2025, a group of mutinous soldiers in the Republic of Benin launched a brazen attempt to overthrow the government, calling themselves the Military Committee for Refoundation (CMR). They stormed the national broadcaster and, via a dramatic televised announcement, declared that they had dissolved the government, suspended the constitution, and seized power. A Lieutenant Colonel Pascal Tegri was proclaimed head. Now, in their broadcast, the coup plotters justified their actions by pointing to mounting grievances. What were these grievances? They cited the deteriorating security situation in northern Benin, where jihadists and violence has spilled over from neighboring insurgent-hit Sahel states and countries. The alleged neglect of fallen soldiers, especially those killed in action, and the abandonment of their families over time. He also complained about unjust promotions within the military, implying institutional rot, favoritism, or lack of meritocracy. In short, they framed their coup as a corrective measure, a radical intervention against what they described as a government that had failed to guarantee security, honor its soldiers, or run fair institutions. But the question remains, was the coup successful? No, it wasn't. And why did it fail? The coup plotters moved quite fast. They seized the state television station, which happened to be the platform from which they announced the takeover, and tried to take control of the military camp. But the majority of the Beninese armed forces and security units remained loyal to the government. Within hours, loyalist troops regrouped and struck back, Crucially, and perhaps decisively, foreign intervention played a key role at the request of the Beninese government. Nigerian Air Force jets entered Benin and their airspace and carried out precision airstrikes on strategic locations held by the coup plotters. Those strikes reportedly forced the coup plotters to withdraw from the state television building and the seized military camp. Shortly after, ground forces from Nigeria, as part of a broader regional response, moved in to help restore order. 14 people, mostly active duty soldiers, were arrested in connection with the attempted coup. Within less than a day, the coup attempt collapsed. The constitutional government in Benin was declared secure. Now, one question lingers. What drove the plotters, and what does this reveal? The coup attempt was not random. Yes, it wasn't. It came against a backdrop of rising political tension, governance issues, and security collapse in parts of Benin. Some key factors that led to this coup include security crisis, democratic backsliding and political exclusion, and institutional neglect and military discontent. In effect, the coup attempt was a symptom, a violent expression of frustrations that had been building for some time now. This move also points to how fragile democratic gains remain, even in countries once considered stable. This is especially troubling given the recent wave of coups in countries such as Niger Republic, Mali, Burkina Faso, Guinea, and Guinea-Bissau, respectively. Benin Republic had so far been seen as a model of relative stability. Its abrupt collapse into this coup problem signals that no democracy in West Africa is therefore guaranteed. But the failure of the coup does not automatically guarantee lasting stability. The failed coup in Benin Republic is more than just a dramatic story. It demonstrates how fragile democracy, security, and governance remain across West Africa. If African nations truly aim to move beyond the emergence of coups and instability and project real self-determination free from external interference and colonial shadows from Europe, then they must treat this moment not as a temporary crisis to suppress, but as a catalyst for serious structural reforms. Because preventing a coup once or twice does not build democracy. Only institutions, fairness, justice, and responsive governance can do that. Thank you for watching and listening. If this breakdown gave you clarity, please remember to like, comment your thoughts, subscribe for more in-depth Nigerian analysis, and share this video so more people can understand the issues behind the scenes today. Do not forget, Nigeria belongs to all of us, and we must all protect the balance that keeps this country together.